I guess.
All right.
Yep.
Rolling?
Rolling. If
Cool.
you guys are listening to this on any podcast platforms, it's on Spotify, Amazon, Apple. Leave us a review.
Yeah,
Rate
please.
rate it, whatever. Leave a comment.
Even if it's a shitty comment, I
Yeah.
don't care. Tell us we suck.
On YouTube, we're trying to improve the audio quality. We're trying to improve video quality. We're buying new cameras. It's not cheap. So
Yeah, it takes a little bit.
yeah, any little bit from you guys helps. Find any value here. Just
Yeah. We're
it
slowly
doesn't cost
upgrading.
anything to leave a review, like it, share it, rate it. Anyways,
Yeah, please help us out. So,
man,
already,
yeah,
I should have wore the tinfoil hat.
yeah. You know what's fucked up? You're talking about how you saw like the change in me.
Yeah.
In like the calmer.
Yeah. A lot
And
better demeanor,
yeah,
Not wound as tight.
and probably just in the last couple months.
Definitely. Yeah.
It occurred to me the other day what might be doing it.
Yeah.
I started using CBD quite a few years ago,
Right.
and it's been like the stuff I like to use has been hard to find, so I've had to buy other stuff. Just the whole supply chain
Right.
bullshit. So I started out using 500 milligrams, and then I started using 1,000 milligrams. One day I was
Right.
in there, I'm like, I'll buy 1,500, right? Thousand's good, 1,500's even better.
Yeah.
And that was 2 months ago.
Wow. So you think there's a correlation,
I think there's a
connection?
big
Probably. Yeah. Man,
I
maybe I need to get on some of
I
that.
fucking stopped using it
Yeah.
and take a little break for a while. Just
See what happens.
Yeah,
All right.
because I started wondering, because I started noticing it.
Yeah.
Like my OCD got worse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just little
Right.
things,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's probably good that certain shit, is easier to let go of, but
Probably. I
at
don't
the
know. There's
same
something to be said about being
time,
wound up a little bit too, man.
yeah, at the same time, I'm like, I feel like I'm getting a little too complacent.
Right.
Something's not right here.
Right.
So
Because some of this stuff you probably should really, it should have an effect on you.
So I started doing some research on it, and it's pretty common.
Really?
Prolonged use,
Yeah. Makes you docile.
excessive use.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm using it every day,
Yeah.
So I'll take a little break and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Want to pay attention.
Because I definitely noticed,
Well, you guys will know. He's on here all cranked up like I am.
Yeah.
Yep, it definitely was that.
Yeah, it was just funny when you were saying that, and then I started doing some research because I started noticing it in myself, and even my wife was like, like, she just noticed some
Right.
differences. And so I'm like, But then you put your tinfoil hat on, and you start thinking, well, is this why they're trying to legalize
this why they're,
it?
right? That's why they're pushing it. Like all the
Yeah.
estrogen and the plastic particles in your water bottles, it's knocking the testosterone down in men and making you
Yeah.
more docile, less amped to fight back. More knock down the population because men are not nearly as fertile as they used to be, and I don't know, man. It's a deep rabbit hole to go down. It's scary.
Yeah, and
It
well,
was absolutely terrifying to me, just stripping the manhood right away from the man. So
I don't know.
yeah,
I'm not, like I said, yeah, you start putting on that tinfoil hat, and you're
right,
like, oh shit, like, is there a reason? I don't
yeah,
know. It. I just once, like I said, once I started doing some research,
yeah,
and then right here, I did some research on
yeah,
this because I looked it up because you were saying a specific YouTuber
yeah.
was
swears
pushing
by it
this
and
product,
he
right?
uses it. Yep.
So I don't know what he charges for it, but it's on Amazon for that price.
Oh,
I don't know
probably.
if that's.
You know what? Probably less than.
I
That's
don't.
probably.
I didn't price it, but I did. I did
Yeah.
watch one of. I didn't watch his video. I kind of watched one
Yeah.
of his videos, and he was
Right.
talking about it, and I knew you'd asked about it, so I'm like, why? I at least owe it to you to do some research. But look at these ingredients. Remember that other supplement I was telling you about?
Yeah.
See that word there?
Yeah.
Tonga Ali.
Yeah.
That's that other supplement I take.
Oh.
Then I'm looking through here, and the ashwagandha powder
Yeah.
is in there.
Yeah. 30.
The only thing, the stuff I don't have is this right here. You see it over here? One.
Yeah.
The
Huh.
Turkish Tunisia. Mine doesn't
Yeah.
have that in it.
I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that.
So I think
it's worth a spend.
Yeah, I'm
know?
gonna try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
try it because I'm already taking.
Ah,
And what we're talking about here for everybody just listening or watching, I know you can't see what I'm showing
Right.
here, but it's supposed to be a testosterone
Supplement.
supplement.
Yeah.
and it's called Turkestrone. And we had a conversation about this.
Couple podcasts ago, or no, we didn't.
No,
get
we
into
didn't. We
it.
didn't.
It
We
was-
talked
yeah,
to
it
it
was
out.
private.
We didn't
Yep.
talk to it about
was
it
at kitchen
on.
table.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was after the podcast, and he was asking me about what I thought about it, and I didn't give. I wanted to research it before I gave. But knowing
I think
my limited knowledge of supplements and testosterone is the only way you're gonna actually boost.
exercise, diet.
Well, I'm
sleep,
saying with going, either
oh,
injections,
yeah,
cream,
injections
like
and cream. Right.
there's no supplement you can buy over the counter that just boosts your testosterone. But
Right.
Andrew Huberman talks about Tongat Ali
Yeah.
and increasing testosterone, and that's one of the ingredients in this particular supplement
Well,
here. So
The guy
for the
that-
price on here,
Yeah,
that you
I'm
can
gonna
buy
have to
it-
price it out because I think
Yeah.
that's probably less.
yeah, and I don't know if it is or not.
I don't know. Well, I'll look.
Yeah,
I'll look it up. And I know he uses a
Oh,
promo code
well, we
too.
can-
So
yeah, I'm just curious to
Yeah.
see, what.
and he just seems to be. I like Jack.
I know you
don't
do.
agree with everything.
I'm not saying that he's.
I think he does do a lot of research and stuff. He doesn't push many products. He pushes his own a little bit, and they make good quality stuff. I don't know. I thought, man, he swears by it, and it's made a difference for him. And he's walking the walk, not just talking the talk. He's limiting plastic exposures and
Right, and I
said, they had a baby, and he used glass bottles, and because I was panicking, like what do I do? I just had a birthday party for this kid, 2 years old. Everything that every baby toy, baby anything is plastic,
right,
and they chew, and I'm like, oh my God, well how I don't want to
and
hormonally affect my son and have him.
I can't find the particular one that he right now.
Yeah,
I can't find
okay.
the particular one that
We're gonna
he
have to
was
do some
marketing.
research. So that's 90 days.
And I'm not
supply.
saying the stuff doesn't work.
Right.
All I'm
don't
saying
know.
is
I want to try it.
It's not anybody out there. I want them to understand too. Like I get my blood work done. That's one capsule. So
Right.
yeah, I get my blood work done regularly with my doctor, and I encourage everybody out there so that at least you know. So
Yeah.
if you do take a supplement like this, at least you knew what your baseline
Right.
was
You knew
before
what
you
the
started
baseline
taking it,
was. Yeah.
and then But a friend of our family member,
Yeah.
mine, friend of yours, we were talking about testosterone, and he was asking some questions, and I had told him about the Tongat Ali, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm gonna order some." Like, whoa, slow down, okay? Understand that you can't. There is no one pill you can.
There's no
take.
magic to it, right? Yeah.
Even the testosterone shots.
Right.
Okay, Razor, you still have to do the work.
Yeah. You got to do the work. Because I got a friend that does the shots, and
Yeah.
you
You still have to put the work in, and
he's in the gym exercising every single day. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
putting the work in with it, and
And I want people to understand that out there too. These are building blocks. I supplement heavily. You've seen
Yeah.
my regimen.
yeah.
I mean, I take everything under the sun. I'm not a doctor either, so don't take this as medical advice, anybody out there.
No, not at all.
Talk to your doctor. Have a conversation. Get your blood work done.
Yep.
Talk to your doctor about exercise and diet and sleep, and it's a whole plan. There is no one magic pill.
No, it's a lifestyle change, really.
If there was one pill, everybody would be taking it.
Right.
And then they'd sit on their couch and watch Netflix and eat pizzas and eat Doritos and drink Slurpees.
And build muscle.
Yeah.
While they're doing
it. There
you know.
is no easy way out to get.
No, I think there's a lot of things right now that are really attacking your testosterone, and you know, it's a supplement to help, but it's not, like you said, it's not the magic bullet that's, you know, the win all cure all. I don't think anything, like you said, even the shots, you still got to do the work. You can't, you know, just get a shot and then go lay around on the couch eating Doritos all day, like.
No,
you know, it's a lifestyle. You got to mix it with diet, with exercise, you know.
And I want to do a better job of communicating that too, and pointing people in the right direction for more reliable, more knowledgeable resources than I am. I listen to a lot of health podcasts. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and then I go out and I implement these things. I have conversations with my doctor, and I just cannot stress it enough. There is no magic pill. Right. There are things that can help. And if this pill makes you feel a little better, and it is a little easier for you to get up and get on the treadmill, or great. It's that little boost that you need to maybe encourage and help you get there.
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll see, because you know what I mean. We're on camera, like you'll see the transformation over time. So we'll see what happens. But I'm in the process right now. For you guys that don't know, or just first time viewer, I'm implementing a lot of this stuff. I'm in the process of this lifestyle change, you know, and not exactly a keto diet. Maybe I'll go full keto. I haven't decided. I'm kind of on the fence. I'm still kind of researching stuff, but I'm severely limiting my sugar intake anymore. That shit's just poison for your body. I believe it. I'm watching my plastic exposure now, you know. I'm drinking out of a stainless steel cup. No more plastic bottles, plastic cups. Like, I'm gonna order some glass Tupperware containers, storage containers, so that, you know, think about it. We all got plastic Gladware. Throw it in the microwave with, you know, your spaghetti from yesterday in there, and microwave it, and those gases, you know, it's getting in your food. And I believe that because, I'm old enough to remember before there were Teflon pans, and when Teflon became a thing, and then, you know, you scratch it and there's scratches in it, and then they started to find out, man, there's particles of Teflon in your food. You know, like, that's probably, I switched over to stainless steel pans for a long time because of that. I use copper now, but, you know, I'm thinking about going back to stainless steel. Those things, they have an impact, you know, like so I'm trying to be smart. But I also understand, like, this isn't a diet. It's really, you know, the day before yesterday, I put a mile on the treadmill. You know, I want to work back to that 5 mile range. It'll take me a minute to get back there, but I will. You know, I'm confident in it. That running that mile felt good. My time, I sent it to you. I don't know.
It was 2 miles. It was mile and 3/4.
Mile and 3/4. Yeah. And what was it? 22 minutes or 18 minutes or so? I don't remember. But the time wasn't bad.
No.
You know, wasn't my best time, but, you know, I was good with it. So, exercise, better diet, all around. And if I can boost the testosterone, like you said, just give me a little extra to get up on that treadmill, then, you know, fine. It'll be worth spending a few bucks a month for it, you know. And every YouTuber you watch, every one of these guys are plugging something. You know, Tim Pool lost a lot of weight. He swears by whatever that stuff he puts in his coffee every day. Maybe it works, you know. He went keto too.
Yeah, he went keto and he started exercising.
And you go back and look at his earlier videos, and you can tell, man, he did. He lost a lot of weight. He's looking good.
It's amazing what you do when you limit your carbs and sugar.
Right.
And I'm not saying never eat one single carb or have 1 gram of sugar,
I had
but
pizza
limit
last
it.
night, man.
Right. It should be.
It's a treat.
Right.
Yep.
I try to keep my sugar under 25 grams a day. Try to keep my carbs under 200 grams a day.
Nice. It's not a prison sentence. It's just it's just a lifestyle change. That's
And
all.
you figure it
know.
out, right?
I
Like,
quit eating iceberg lettuce.
yeah,
It's worthless,
yeah,
right? It's
yep.
water.
Just
So
flavor.
I eat romaine lettuce now. It's got
Yeah.
a better flavor. It's got some nutritional value to it versus,
Yeah,
iceberg lettuce.
right.
So just different changes like that I've been slowly kind of tweaking and making, and it's not that bad.
Uh-uh.
It's not that hard. Takes
No.
a little getting used to, a little habit forming,
Yeah.
just forming little better habits,
Yeah.
Tonight I had a birthday party for my little one, and we grilled. We had a lot of brats and hot dogs and stuff. Just little touch of summer, even though it's
Yeah.
cold and shitty here, and
Yeah.
it felt
Yeah.
good to fire up the charcoal. And when I was done, like I had a whole pile of hot coals, like they were just glowing red, and I'm like, man, the one thing about charcoal I hate is, especially when you're doing like brats and hot dogs, they're on and off so fast, and you get this whole pile of charcoal, and I'm like, I don't want to waste it. So I threw 15 pounds of chicken on there and just slow it, man, seasoned it real nice. One was like, garlic jalapeno, and then the other strip of chicken, the other row was all Cajun, like some good Creole seasoning in there.
You gonna use that through the week for
Yeah, yeah. And
lunches?
now I got 15 pounds of chicken all grilled, ready to
Mhm.
go. Probably half of it I'll just vacuum seal and put away, and
Freeze it? Yeah.
yeah,
And then
freeze
thaw
it.
it and-
Yep,
yeah,
it's
and
ready to
gone.
go.
Yeah, just-
You know.
And I similarly do
I've
the
seen
same.
you do that before, and it kind of, it stuck in my head,
Right.
and I thought, man, I don't want to waste all this charcoal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna throw all this chicken on
Hell
there. Yeah, looks
Yeah,
good.
because I eat almost 5 pounds of chicken a week myself
Yeah,
for my.
that's
lunch
about what
at
I go
work.
through. 5 pounds.
I have a
6.
chicken salad every day for lunch
Yep.
at work, and again I grill it, skinless breast, grill it
Yep.
on Sunday. Then I already
Got
got
your
grilled. I
chicken all
cut it
done.
up, put it in a
Yeah.
bowl with a lid on it, and now for the whole week, all I
Yeah,
gotta do
ready
is
to go.
throw it in my salad, and it's ready to go.
And it smelled so good. Like I almost
Oh,
dug
I
into
bet.
it tonight,
I
man.
bet.
It was hard. It was hard not to get into it. So, but yeah, just little habits like that. What did it really take to grill a little extra chicken? I've been doing it in an Instapot.
Oh, okay.
Throw it in there, frozen, raw, 22 minutes or whatever it is. Boom, it's shredded. It's
Yeah,
just falls
tender.
apart, tender.
I want to make some pulled chicken
yeah,
like that, like some pulled pork. I want to make it
that would
like
be
that and
good.
shred
Yep.
it in barbecue
Oh
sauce.
yeah, man, I love that Instapots. It's neat. But I wanted to grill it this time. I thought, I don't want to waste all this charcoal, and it worked out perfect. Just cooked away while we were having the party. I'd go out once in a while, check it, flip it over, and smelled so good. So I can't wait to have some wraps with this. It'll be a little different,
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I haven't eaten bread now in 7-8 years.
Right?
And people are like, oh God, how do you do it? How do you? It's small adjustments.
Yeah.
I didn't just create this. I just didn't wake up one morning and do it. It's been a journey, and it's still
Yeah.
a journey of
Right.
figuring this stuff out. Like, okay, can I eliminate bread? How do I do this? So I started buying keto wraps.
Right. I eat a lot of wraps.
And so
I don't eat bread. Once in a while, if I'm having a hot dog, I'll have a bun or a
Yeah.
burger.
Yeah.
I'll have it with a bun. But I noticed that I've been like I have these hot dogs. I'll throw in the air fryer for a few minutes, and they're almost like grilled. And I'll just dip them in mustard and eat them that way. I like them that way. I don't eat, but I'll eat 5 of those. I'll sit down and eat 5 hot dogs, dip them in mustard. Well, tonight I had hot dogs. I actually used a bun. I had 2, and I was like done. And I thought, wow, that bread made that big of a difference.
Yeah, I don't even know what it'd be. I don't even know what happened if I ate a bun.
Yeah,
Or,
we should video it
and-
once.
Oh God, I can only imagine.
Make you
Well-
sick afterwards, probably.
Right. Well, you remember a while ago I made those. They have these 0 sugar brownies,
Yeah,
but they're still really high in carbs.
Right.
I think it's like 40 grams of carb per brownie,
nothing's cheap.
even though
man.
there's no sugar in them.
Right.
And we smashed them. Remember the next day I
Yeah.
said I got up and my freaking wrist hurt
Yeah.
and my knuckles hurt.
All the inflammation
Yeah.
in your body.
Yeah, because I'm not used to that
'Cause you're
amount
not
of
used to
carbs.
that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So and that shows you just how bad some of this stuff really is
Mm-hmm.
for you. I don't eat out much anymore. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like the changes, really. And granted, look, this is not like some self-raised chicken either. Like I'm
Right.
not standing on a
Right.
soapbox or water
No.
walking here, guys. Like
No.
I know this is store-bought chicken that's
Right.
full of hormones and antibiotics and shit too, probably, but still better than the diet I was using.
Right.
So it's a start.
Right.
You know, who knows? Maybe next year I'll have my chickens again, and I'll just go back to eating my own chicken. You know, raising my own. Who knows? I mean,
No, this isn't.
it's
You know,
not
this
perfect.
isn't preaching. No, by any means. I'm just trying to encourage people
Mm-hmm.
that think like fast food. I think it's
Yeah.
10 years now since I've had any sort of fast food at
Right.
all.
Yeah.
And
Other than pizza. Like,
right.
you know,
And when I say
so
fast
takeout,
food, I
but
mean
real
drive-through
fast food.
window.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Rallies, McDonald's,
right.
Burger King,
Yeah, right. Pick up.
Arby's.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I know,
Every
I
now
think
and
out
then,
of them all, Arby's would probably be the best. Some roast beef
Yeah.
sandwich, you know. I would think it's probably a little better, but I don't know. I'm kind of. I don't even want to go through them drive-throughs anymore because it's like, is it even real meat anymore? Is it just ground crickets? Like,
right.
I'm kind of nervous about, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. Burger King has flame broiled. It has a good flavor to it, but
Well, then people ask me, "Oh God, how do you not eat fast food?" And it's like, I would say the first 2 months it was really difficult.
Yeah.
There's something to that. Like,
it makes you addicted, man.
there's something
yeah.
there.
Once
The
you start going,
first
you want to go every
2
day.
months, it was.
Yep.
When I finally decided, okay, I'm giving this up. It was a struggle. There's
Yeah.
something there. I don't know what they do to it,
I don't know.
but there's
I'll
something
put
there.
my tinfoil hat on and I'll tell you what they do. Demonetized
Right.
again.
But once I got through that, there is no desire. And people are like, how do
Right.
you do it? How do you have to adjust your lifestyle too,
Yeah.
okay?
Right.
Like, this is your life.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, the kid sport and this and that. Figure it out. Like,
Right.
I figure it out. I
was
I-
having the same problem because I have a baby,
Yeah.
right? Like, and he's demanding. Like,
Mhm.
he commands a lot of my attention. So I started to, we were doing a lot of walks. Okay. Me and him would go, we'd walk 2.5 miles.
Mhm.
I'll try to do it every single day, but I want to run and I'm
Mhm.
having a hard time trying to figure out. And then it clicked, I laid him down for a nap and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go and run right now.
Perfect.
I'll run on the treadmill. He's sleeping. I got the monitor. If he wakes up,
Perfect.
it worked out beautiful.
Right.
And I thought, there's a good solution.
You figured it out, yeah.
I figured it out. It gets hard when
Yeah.
you have kids. Well,
Yeah.
you're busy with yours,
Yeah.
But there's ways.
We don't have to eat every 2 hours.
Right.
We can figure this out.
Yeah.
If you know your kid's gonna have a sport tomorrow night, cook
Yeah.
something
Cook it the
extra
night before.
tonight and have it ready so you can just come home
Right.
and eat after that event. So you don't have to
Yeah.
cook out of this big, because after that event you're thinking, oh shit, I gotta go home and get this out and that out, and then we
Yeah.
got dishes and it's
Right.
already
I'll just
7:30, 8
stop and
o'clock.
get some
Just
Taco
stop,
Bell.
It's not
right.
worth it. Do a little
Yeah.
meal planning.
Yeah.
A
Little extra work goes a
Trust
long
me,
way.
I can do it. I was the same way.
Yeah.
I can do it. And we don't have to eat every 2 hours.
Right.
I intermittent fast. I go 16 hours a day during the week without eating, and usually 24 hours on the weekends
Wow.
without eating. It's good. It's
Yeah.
okay. Again, talk with your doctor, not medical advice. But most of the time, it's good for your body to
Yeah.
have a little break and let your
Right.
guts digest and get a little break from constantly having shit shoved through them.
Right. Yeah,
Especially
that's true.
processed shit.
Yeah. And you think about all the preservatives that they pump in that, and it's like, man, you would almost think it'd be good for you. Preservatives, like, you're preserving your body, like now you'll live 200 years.
Yeah.
A Twinkie never goes bad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like 10 years. Like,
The problem is our bodies aren't designed to
No.
process that shit.
Yeah,
That's not
exactly.
we
Yeah.
can't say, because we've been doing this shit now for whatever 80, 90 years, 100
Yeah.
years, whatever, however long we've been making processed preserving food. And I'm not saying canning, your grandmother
Right.
canning. I'm not talking
Like
about that.
real preserving.
I'm talking tin
smoke.
can on the shelf in the
Right.
store, whatever, preserved like
Yeah.
that. There's a big difference.
Production food.
Right. There's a big
mass
difference. So-
production.
When you take tens of thousands of years of us living a certain way, you can't just
Right.
put that on its head
Yeah.
and
And I know,
expect our bodies to, figure it out. They respond very negatively, as we've seen.
And again, here I'm talking about a healthier lifestyle and I'm chewing,
Yeah.
but a couple months ago I was chewing and smoking.
Right.
Now I'm just chewing.
Right.
So I did break my habit of cigarettes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was,
That's awesome. That's
yeah, I was
such a
real
huge
happy
step.
to do that. And I've quit a couple of times in life and, well, for this reason or another, quit smoking for a couple of years and then pick it back up. It's,
Mhm.
it's such I'll admit I enjoy smoking. I really,
Mhm.
it feels like you're getting a break and it just, sometimes to just sit down and have that cigarette, like, oh
Wow.
man. So yeah, it took a few minutes to, I'm trying to figure out new habits that give me the same feeling,
Mhm.
again, lifestyle changes. So hopefully chewing will be eliminated here shortly too. I'm working on it. So
And people think that, well, before anything bad happens, I'll change my habits then.
right.
When life's not so complicated, I'll
Oh
stop eating
man,
fast food and I'll start
that scared the hell out of me because yeah,
the dam
you're gonna go through withdrawal and die.
well, not like that, but the
you know,
damage
right? It's
is
done.
done.
Right. But could
It,
you imagine just like the lights going out one night, and the next day you being the typical person that eats out 4 or 5 times a week and smokes a pack of cigarettes a day. Hell, I smoke 3 packs a day. So you're trying to quit eating donuts in the morning, chicken nuggets in the afternoon for your lunch, and then the Whoppy burger and fry and a Coke that night, plus whatever snacks you throw in there, and 2 packs of cigarettes that day, and you're trying to give up all that shit at once. Whoo! Oh man,
well, not only
you're gonna
that,
be a
but
miserable prick.
when you're talking about natural disasters and what happened
Yeah.
in Florida, like if you're
God,
if
them
you're out of
guys in
shape
Florida.
and you're just not living a healthy lifestyle, it makes that much harder to
Right.
deal with that
Yeah.
shit. Trying to clean up your yard, trying
Yeah.
to even get to your house through
Right.
roads that are blocked and shit, or helping
Good
your
luck trying to
neighbors
do that when you
help it
can't tie your own shoes.
right,
You
helping
know
your
what I mean?
neighbors cut up a tree off their
And I wear
house, or
slip-ons because I hate tying my
right,
shoes.
helping your neighbors cut up a tree off their house and shit.
Yeah.
How valuable are you to your community now?
And
Now
you and I
what?
both have cut a hell of a lot of
Right.
wood
And
in the
now,
last 10 years. We know what it's
so
about.
now you're just a further burden on the first
Yeah.
responders.
One more person they got to rescue and take care of
Right.
because, you're not going to help yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
It,
I don't know.
You know,
I
and
like the feeling of being independent. I had someone ask within the last week about, you lived 7 years off grid and, like it was hard, this lifestyle, like who in the hell would want to do that? Why would you want to do that? Were you hiding from someone? And I'm like, no. Uh, it was an adventure. And once I started it, like, it was things I was always interested in anyways. How did they get these things done 100 years ago? How did they live 200 years ago? Always been an interest of mine, even when I was a young boy. One of the shows I used to love to watch with my mom was Little House on the Prairie. Man, I loved watching how the old mill that they had there, and
mm-hmm.
they had the water wheel
Yeah.
going. It was neat. But once I started down that path, like the more confident I became, the more challenged I would, push myself even further and further to see what could I do? What could I live through? And I loved feeling very independent that it wasn't perfect. I used propane, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would not go and dig a hole in the ground and find propane and that look, I'm self-sufficient. So there were still some things where, I was a little bit committed to the system, but I loved it. Man, I just that independent, I can take care of myself feeling was wonderful. And I think that's something that we miss a lot in society right now. I think if people experience that, they would fall in love with that
Mm-hmm.
and they would strive to do it more. And I think we've been,
Maybe.
like we were watching a movie last week, Fight Club.
Yeah.
What's it about? Really. I mean, there's a lot of some strong messages in that show. Like, the mass
they're
commercialization
definitely
towards
they're
men,
just
right?
the materialism of society.
Yeah.
No doubt. I it's
Do you think
not
we've been programmed over the last years to just be more docile and less independent, more committed to the system, easily controlled?
but
Or
if
was it
we're
really
not
about conveniences?
if we're not progressing though, then what happens?
Well, I'm not saying let's stay in the Stone Age, but
And I think materialism helps drive that.
sure.
If we didn't want better webcams to provide
Right.
better
We
content,
couldn't do this, right, without technology.
I'm not just saying without
smartphones,
technology, but we want to produce better quality videos.
You need
So
better-
I just ordered another webcam to
Right.
try out, try to get a better quality one,
Right.
right? So innovation is driving this to provide better content,
Sure.
and the phones we have now
Are amazing.
Remember smartphone from
Yeah.
2010?
Oh my
Like,
God. Yeah.
yeah. I remember my first smartphone had 2 gigs
Yeah.
of storage.
And you thought that was huge.
Yeah, I was like,
You
oh
know?
God, I'll never use 2 gigs.
Right. Oh, I fill it right up.
Well, yeah, today,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Easy.
it-
What did I tell you? I got a terabyte
right.
in mine. Like
So,
as much as I
uh,
have on my laptop, which I don't even use anymore. It's the phone is your life.
so I think the desire for better technology is a good thing. Like we had talked about, we have heated seats in our vehicles.
Right. I like heated
Right.
steering wheel especially.
I told you, Charles Ingalls would much rather ride in a vehicle with heated seats in that hard-ass wood platform on that wagon across the Kansas
But if
prairie
you
in
told
January.
him that he could ride the wagon in January, hemorrhoids and all, right? But he is free to do what he wants. Or he could have the heated seats, heated mirrors, heated steering wheel, automatic transmission, but got to get in the line when you're told to get in the line, son. Here's your moldy bread and government cheese. Like,
I don't know that.
do you
the
think he would
two-
choose that?
I don't think the two equate.
No?
No, because nobody's forcing you in a bread line just because you want to.
Yeah. But the more dependent you are of the system
Well,
and the less inability you have to take care of yourself, the more the probability is that you're going to end up in that line as one of the sheep. Be the shepherd, not the sheep. Right? So,
but
me,
I don't think that.
I don't think it's a big leap from. I always felt like if you control food, you control people, right? So when you're what happens when there's replicators, like on Star Trek, right? You push a button, you get a cup of tea.
Yeah.
You lose something in that process of convenience. Now there are people making arguments online right now that it's okay that the dairy farmers go to shit because when they want milk, they'll just go to the store and get it. Like they don't even have the concept of milk comes from the goddamn cow, and then it goes to the pasteurizer, and then it gets packaged, and then it gets distributed out. Like they don't even understand the supply chain at all. Like I think you have to be careful. I love the modern conveniences, man. I love air conditioning. I'm fat. I'm heat intolerant, man. I don't like it when it's real hot. I want to go in and sit in air conditioning. I love streaming. The greatest thing that happened in my life so far, is technology-wise, is not being like raped by cable TV and being forced to buy 75 channels that I'll never even look at. Right? For the 3 channels I use.
Right.
Now, I just stream the things I want to stream. It's probably, in the end, it's probably a little more expensive, but still, I'm buying what I want. So I love that stuff, but I think you have to be careful because you can lose yourself in convenience, right? Like, you don't eat bread, but how many people do? They don't make their own bread, right?
Right.
It's production line, soft and good, man, soft and good. There's Wonder Bread,
Right.
thousands of loaves a day being shipped out all over for people to eat, and what's that doing to their body?
Right.
So it's convenient to go to the store and buy pasteurized, heavily production supply chain milk. Maybe it'd be better if, you had not, you didn't have that convenience. You had to do the work to go get some milk from your local farmer, or you made your own bread. Maybe making your own bread wouldn't be quite so bad. Like I'm reading the Bible, and man, a lot of people eat bread in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus gave people bread. Was
Mm-hmm.
bread that bad for people then? It kind of made me wonder, like, why in the hell is it that these people all ate bread in history, like flatbread, all kinds of, unleavened bread, like, and now, like, bread's so toxic, like, it destroys your body eating that kind of shit. So, I don't know. It's just something
Well, I think there's a
you
couple
know,
of things there to
yeah,
unpack,
yeah,
and
go ahead. Tear it apart.
obviously, one of them is preservatives. One of them
Right.
is GMO modified wheat.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
It's not made the same way it was 2,000 years ago today.
Sure. Not
I
even
think
100 years ago.
I think that has a huge impact. I don't necessarily think eating a little bit of grandma's homemade bread at Thanksgiving or Christmas is terrible
is
for you.
bad. Right. But again,
But
that's
when
that
you're
convenience.
right. Right, which isn't necessarily. I don't know that they were just pounding bread every day like we do today,
I
2,000
don't
years
know.
ago.
I would bet they probably was a big part of their diet was bread with a little meat. I bet you they ate more
Yeah,
bread
no.
than, because it was grain that really
Yeah.
kicked off farming, right? I
Yeah.
mean, from being nomadic tribes people that hunter gatherer
Yeah.
to being stationary people that started to build societies was farming. It was grain,
Yeah.
it was wheat and corn and things like that. That I bet you they ate a lot of bread. I bet you it was as big a part of their diet as meat was.
Hmm. Yeah, we'll have to dig into
Yeah,
that. And
I
do some
mean, I'd like
research
to.
and
Yeah, let's
find
kind of
out.
dig into
'Cause
that and see.
I'm curious too to find
Yeah.
out how much bread they consumed,
But I think,
2,000 years ago compared to how we consume it today.
but now everything's like mass-produced Megatron
Mhm.
farms, like for convenience. And I think I think you sell a little bit of yourself every time we want something a little easier. Like I love contact lenses, not having to wear glasses all the time.
Mhm.
But who knows what they're going to say 30 years from now about people who wear contacts.
Mm-hmm.
And I wear mine too long. I'll admit, they're expensive. And
Mhm.
do I take them out every night before bed? Hell no, I sleep with them in. You shouldn't.
Mhm.
What happens when I try to pull one out and it's adhered to my eyeball
Mhm.
or something? I mean, who knows? I'm not dogging like technology and innovation. I don't want to stifle innovation at all. Like I love pushing it further than any man's ever went. The
But
kind of
I think that's all part of this. So I don't think you can have one and not the other. I don't think we can all have cows in our backyards and a little wheat field in our front
Right.
yard. I just don't
Well, yeah, it's not
I don't
practical nowadays,
see how the
right?
two can
But I also see, like,
coexist with driving.
Travel, now the world's global.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at what happened a year and a half ago because look at how fast it was around. Days.
Yeah.
Days. And
Yeah,
it
no
was,
doubt.
covered the globe because of, maybe, I don't know. I just think people should be aware that, it's like medication. For every benefit of a medication, there's an equal negative side effect, and I think
I
for
agree.
convenience is kind of the same way that for every benefit to our life,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look back 60 years ago, obesity wasn't as big of a problem
Right.
as it is now. But
Right.
hey, I mean, it's convenient to go to McDonald's and get your
Right.
meal there. Hell, half the time it's cheaper now to go there and, eat for you, your wife, and a kid than it is to go home and, cook a meal, do the hard work, So,
Well, but even to the point you were just saying about streaming,
Yeah.
like if we couldn't find anything on TV, we went and did something.
right.
We flip around, fuck, there's nothing on. Let's go.
So
do
again, now there's
So now-
convenience of I can go right to the streaming service and pick out exactly what I want to watch.
Right.
I'm more amped to sit on my ass and
Right.
watch it.
Right.
Again, maybe convenience isn't such. I just think you
But
should be aware of it. That's
Yeah.
all. You know what I mean? Try to balance it out a little bit.
Mhm.
Know that convenience is a trap. Convenience, really, my belief, and look at, I'm a fat fucker, man, so I'm not picking on anyone, but I really believe convenience leads to laziness. It just does. And, you know,
I think that's on the individual, though, right?
well, I think it is. You have to
It's-
train your mind to combat that,
Right.
because I like to lay on the couch in the air conditioning, stream my favorite show, and eat a big ass giant bowl of popcorn. You know, I'm as guilty as anyone else of that, but I'm trying to get that shit in my head that, you know what, maybe go outside. You know, find something to do out there. You
Right.
know, go jump in the pond. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Like you said, go for a walk.
Yeah,
you know?
go for a walk. What did people do 100 years ago? So again, when they said, well, why in the hell would you want to live like that? I said, I challenged myself. It was hard. There were days. You know, there was a particular morning I'll never forget. You know, we had a shitty old wood stove. It ate the wood up so fast it wouldn't burn all night long. It'd burn up in 4 hours. You know, you were constantly throwing wood in there, and I had gotten a little bit lazy, didn't get the wood done that I should have, and I had some wood that I was relying on that was kind of wet and shitty, and you know, the heat value from it wasn't real good. It wasn't pumping out the BTUs, and the wood stove ate it up. I woke up in the morning, I had a glass of water on the nightstand next to me, and it had a skim of ice on there. And my then wife then elbowed me and said, "You need to go throw some wood in there." And I said, "The beep, I do." Hell no, that glass of water's froze. I ain't getting out from underneath these 4 sleeping bags. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it was miserable, and I had that thought of, oh dear God, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
And then I said, no, get off your ass, go get the stove going, take the frigidness out of this house or cabin, and go cut some wood.
Yeah.
And guess what I was doing all day? I was cutting wood,
Yeah.
which was, you know, actually really good for me.
Yeah.
I was really healthy then.
I think,
You know?
again, to my point is, we as individuals have to take it upon ourselves, that personal responsibility, to find that balance for ourselves and not blame it on the cell phone manufacturer or the streaming service for trapping us into this, or the fast food industry for making it so convenient to get food. You know, if they would only not do that, free people have to be able to make free choices.
Right. Got to make
know?
good choices, right?
Do you?
Strongest survive.
Right.
I mean, you know, nowadays, not really.
You just have to be accountable for your choices and
Right.
understand that if you do A, B, C, and D, you know.
Now everything is not your fault. It's someone else's fault. Again, programming, I think, I do believe that, I see what you're saying, you know, like it's.
Like cigarettes. I don't think cigarettes should be banned. They're fucking horrible for you.
Yeah, I don't think they should ban them. If you want to smoke,
Tell me
you should
otherwise.
be free to smoke.
Right. And that's what I'm saying with all these things. Whether streaming.
Should you smoke? No, you shouldn't smoke.
It's fucking horrible for you.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You're gonna die.
Yep.
The percentage of people that do not die is so minuscule.
And I know everyone.
You do not want to.
Grandpa smoked 2 packs of Pall Mall non-filters, and he lived to be 86. He did.
His 12 friends died.
Yeah. Both of my parents
60.
died in their 50s of cancer.
Right.
One of them of lung cancer. And had quit smoking for 15 years before that. So, you know, a mixture of smoking and then maybe shop work. You know, I mean, these shops are just, they're not always good. There's a lot of toxic shit you deal with in those shops. That, you know.
And that's funny you said that, because we were sitting there last night talking, you know, and the wife was talking about leaving her job, and I was like, because with my previous employer, I'd been there a long time, you know, and I'm like, man, the people, you know, and I named off this person and that person that had passed away, and I'm like, that's 6 fucking people that died of cancer that I worked with.
Right.
6
Scary.
fucking people that I worked with died.
Yep. And what kind of work did I switch over and start doing?
Yeah.
You know, exactly what I always swore, because I said I'm not doing that work. I watched, my whole family was blue-collar workers, punching that clock, you know, for one of the big 3 automakers, like all kinds of plants. I did everything else I could. Eventually, you know, that money, and I went for it. And you know what? You know, I was in there for some years, and guess what? Cancer. You know, I have not been back inside.
Well, and I didn't even think about the 7th one, which is, you didn't personally know, but you knew his son-in-law that just died of cancer.
Right.
Worked in that industry
Yep.
majority of his life.
I donated a half a kidney
Yeah.
now, and like I'm not,
I'm just like,
you know, I'm trying to stay away from that shit.
then I smoked for 15 years.
Yeah.
You know,
We smoked a lot
it
of
scares
cigarettes
the
at the
shit out of
fire.
me to
Yeah.
think.
Something
of
you
the
did back then
damage.
that could come back and
Yeah.
you know, and I did see two different studies. There were two different studies that I seen that said, you know, when you quit smoking, you get about 80%
Yeah.
of, you know, your capacity back. Like the damage, 80% of it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, within a couple of years
I'm
of
trying,
not
man.
smoking. So I gotta think, you know, like you're one of the healthiest people I know, and that's not saying you can't have an aneurysm or.
Right.
I had a cousin that was healthy, you know, really healthy. Didn't
And that's-
smoke. He did like
yeah.
Mountain Dew. You know, if he had a
Yeah.
bad habit, it was that. But you know, he was thin. He's healthy.
Yeah.
Had back problem, man. Like his back hurt. Went to the hospital. They couldn't figure it out. His blood pressure was kind of going down, going down. They're giving him fluids, but his blood pressure ain't going back up. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, something's leaking. Like you cannot give someone fluids and their pressure just go down the way I understand, you know, it's a sealed system. Like you put, so, had a AAA, you know, an aneurysm, aortic aneurysm. And, he looked over and said, man, I really don't feel good. And about 15 seconds later, he was gone.
Damn.
And way too young, you know. Way too young, in his 30s.
Yeah, and I'm not naive to the fact that, I mean, you just don't know.
Hit
but,
by a meteorite tomorrow walking
right,
out to your car, right?
But
You know?
taking steps to be healthier has to pay some dividends.
I think it definitely increases your chances.
If you
your
do have
odds.
to have a surgery, if you do have some kind of disease, it's still got to help.
And I had a
you.
lot of surgeries and recovering from them, you know, especially the last one when I wasn't as healthy. That was really hard, man. Your body's really working hard to try to recover from that. So yeah, you're right. You're healthier. You're going to heal better, faster. The longer you take to heal, the more chances are that something else is going to go wrong. Like with me, you know, it started a whole chain reaction of things that necessarily wasn't broke before, but because of that process, it was like every surgery led to, well, now you need two more. You know, like it's terrifying. Like when does it stop? You know, am I gonna the next surgery I'm just gonna die from? Like, yeah, you know, health it's something that, you know, you've never pushed it on me. You've always answered my questions, but you know, you've never treated me bad for differences that you quit smoking. I kept smoking for years. I kept smoking. You never gave me shit about it. I don't remember ever a time where I was here and you said, you know, you should quit smoking. I don't think you've ever said that. I think when I said, hey, you know, I think I'm going to quit smoking, you said, yeah, all right, man, that's good news. You know, like just always promoted that, like upbeat, positive, you can do it, you know. And I've learned a lot watching you and, you know, the transformation. You were always probably, you were always thinner frame than I was, but I always viewed you as a healthy person. But even from where you were being reasonably healthy to where you are now is a huge difference. You know, like I see it and I learn a lot. Like I watched you cook that chicken and, you know, what did I do tonight? You know?
That's awesome.
A big giant grill full of chicken that I got all done because I thought, you know, that was a good idea watching him get all that chicken done ahead of time, you know, which I was doing some in the Instapot, but I thought, man, I seen you had grilled it and you and the wife was chopping it all up and packaging it. I thought, man, that's a good idea. Like that chicken looks really good. Well, you know, now I got a whole week's worth of chicken, as much as I can eat.
And I did the same thing. I do the same thing like you do. I intentionally set up to grill something on Sunday.
Right.
And then while we're eating whatever we grilled, the chicken's
throw
out there
some
cooking while we're eating dinner.
It was free.
It's already going.
Yeah, it was already
It's
going.
just
And,
looking, you know, so that it doesn't seem like it takes any extra time to do that.
Right.
Right? I don't have to, oh shit, you know, it's
one more
it's
chore.
Sunday. Now, you know, we had
cooking chicken
we
day.
did this meal in the house. Now I gotta go out and get the grill going to cook the chicken for the week.
Right.
No, we plan ahead. We know Sunday night we're gonna grill something.
Yeah.
Because we gotta grill the chicken for the week.
Right.
Simple.
Yeah. It
You know,
works.
and yeah, we had to figure it out. But hopefully someone out there.
So tomorrow I'm buying a whole bunch more chicken.
So hopefully somebody out there will hear this and be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I had never thought about it because I wish someone would explain that to me.
Right.
hey, Sunday, do this, and then you got
Grill's hot, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's already hot. It's already
the chicken
going.
takes a little while to cook, so that's
Yeah.
why we come in, we eat dinner, it's out
Yep.
there on the grill.
Which is exactly what I did tonight.
I might get up once during the meal, run out
Yeah.
there and flip them once,
Yep.
and then come in, finish my
That's what I
meal,
did.
help clean up, and
Ran
then go
out,
out there,
checked it
flip
real
them
quick.
again,
Yeah.
check the temperature.
Piece
It's-
of cake, man.
Yeah.
You know, it really was. It wasn't a lot more work,
It's-
and now it's done. And now I have grilled chicken all week long.
The healthier we
know.
get, the stronger our communities
Yep.
are, the stronger the country is, the more we
Right.
promote health and wellness.
Agreed.
When my previous employer rolled out biometric screening,
Yeah.
I thought,
Oh God.
are you freaking kidding
Yep.
me? Now my company's
against it.
mandating. Now, I was against it too.
Big brother
Yeah.
intruding in on our life again.
I was
It's not their business whether I smoke or not. Right.
living a fairly healthy lifestyle
Mhm.
at that time.
Right.
Nowhere near what and I'll get to
No.
why I'm healthier now in a minute. But
Right. Yeah, you should.
I saw it
What
as
is it?
intrusive.
Yeah.
And I pushed back against it.
Right.
They gave me the option to have my blood test done at work, and I was like, no, hell no. They're
Right.
they're not sticking a needle in me here and taking my blood, and I'll go to my doctor.
Right.
What that did was prompted a conversation with my doctor.
Yeah.
And more doctors need to take an extra couple minutes and do this. Because what came out of that was, my doctor, I went in, and I told him he knew I was there because I had to set the appointment up. He's like, oh, we're getting a lot of employers doing this.
Right.
And I was kind of grumbling about how it was bullshit, like they have no business. That was me being very close-minded,
Mm-hmm.
What,
Close-minded, paranoid. I don't know. I was kind of paranoid by it.
so my doctor got my blood. He had to send it out. I had to go get my blood draw first. I know
Yeah.
I'm trying to recall the accounts here, which the timeline really doesn't matter, but I just trying for accuracy purposes. He had me go get my blood draw first, so he'd have the test results when
Right.
I came in. So I came in, and he checked my urine and shit, and he goes, your urine's pretty dark. He goes, how much water do you drink?
Mm-hmm.
And sarcastically, I'm like, whatever's in Mountain Dew.
Right.
Like at this, even though I was exercising and I was eating eggs, I was on the very edge. I was in the process of quitting smoking. I hadn't quit yet, but I had really cut back. Our bonfires on the weekend. I was casually smoking. I was putting the effort in.
Have a couple of drinks and a cigarette.
Yeah, and I was just starting to look into exercise, running. I was getting hints that things, I need to make some changes, but it hadn't really sunk in yet. I was just flirting on the edge of, well, maybe I should think about this and that, because I was starting to feel shitty, I'm in my mid-30s, and I started noticing a difference. So anyways, he asked me how much water I drank, and really, I didn't drink much water then at all, like, literally. He goes, tell me about your day. I'm like, well, I get up at 5:30 a.m., roll into work about 6:45, get a cup of coffee, get my day going.
Yep.
First break, grab a Mountain Dew out of the vending machine. Lunch, go to McDonald's, whatever, grab, burger. Second break, if it's been a shitty day, I might have a cigarette and a Mountain Dew,
Yeah.
Go home, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, how much exercise do you get? I'm like, well, I've kind of started thinking about walking or running, because I've noticed I'm feeling a little more sluggish, I just don't have the energy I used to. And he goes, how long do you want to live? I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? He goes, you don't start changing shit in your life. He goes, you're not going to live a long time.
Right.
And I'm like, what? Like, nobody had ever talked to me. Like, nobody had ever, even though we know smoking's bad and excessive amounts of Mountain Dew, sugary drinks isn't great for you, it never really clicked until that setting. And I was like, holy shit, like, it just resonated with me.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's telling me if I don't start changing shit, I'm going to die
Right.
early. I was like, oh man, like,
I don't want that to happen.
whew. It was a very sobering moment, though.
Sure.
So what that biometric screening did was triggered that conversation.
Right. So some good came out of it.
Right. Which now my employer still does biometric screening, but I go to my doctor and get my blood work done
Right.
every 6 months. So I already know when my biometric screen comes up. I already know where I'm at.
Right.
I already know I can guess my blood pressure within a couple of numbers,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, mine's almost always the same, which is good.
What
Like,
really
good
helped
blood
in the
pressure.
last 5 years was getting a job where I can listen to podcasts 10 hours a day. Then I started listening to people that are very knowledgeable about health and diet and the science of...
And the other part of this is having a job that you enjoy, that is not stressing you out so badly, right?
Yeah.
Because I think part of this is your emotional and mental well-being. Because if you want to be unhealthy, get depressed.
Yeah.
Every time I've been depressed in my life, I put 30, 40 pounds on, easy. Like that's another part of it too, that, you were
Oh, that's definitely
in
stress.
a job that stressed you beyond belief.
Yeah.
And just the transformation in you now, being in the position you're in versus the company you were with, like, that was a good move. Like, so that's another part of health, is not just being able to run or, you quit smoking, but you have to take care of yourself emotionally.
Yeah.
You have to take care of yourself mentally. And I think there's a lot, I think mental health is something that we haven't done very good at managing in the country. It's kind of the dirty secret no one likes to talk about. Look, man, and I'll be the first one to tell you, like, God, to even go to the doctor and talk about, I feel a little depressed, like, that's something you're scared to do. Hell, man, if I go in there, what's that mean? I tell my doctor I'm feeling a little down, or, maybe I had a bad day, and I had the thought once, like, God, I just want to die today, and I admit that shit to now. Is the ATF going to kick my door in and arrest me because I might shoot up a school or a mall or something? Like, that shit scares the hell out of you. And I think it forces people to not address things that they need to, because life can be hard. And sometimes the positions, the jobs we're at, I've had miserable companies that I hated, man. Driving to work every day, I was pissed off on the way there. I couldn't even enjoy the ride in. Like, I was just stressed about it. Come home, I'm stressed all night. I could barely sleep because I know I got to go back to that shithole tomorrow, to a boss that doesn't give a shit, could care less whether you fall over dead or not. Like, and I think that we have to do a better job about, it's okay to talk about these things, and just talking about them, just being able to open up and talk about them helps tremendously. It makes a big difference. So sorry, I didn't mean to interject in your story. I just wanted to make sure that people understood that too, that definitely was part of, what helped you. It wasn't just having a job that you can listen to podcasts, but it was having a job that, you didn't like want to hang yourself with a bungee cord every day because you had to go in there, know? So yeah, if you find yourself feeling that way, find a different job, man. It's just not worth it,
Yeah, and it wasn't easy to go from, someplace over 2 decades to starting out as a new guy.
You were there forever, and to give that up.
But more so to the point, like you said about the podcast, was look around out there. Look around, listen to people. They're knowledgeable, they're professional.
Yep.
And whatever you take away from that, go talk to your doctor about those things.
Right.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'll hear something, and next time I go in for blood work, I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this?
Right.
And he'll give me, he'll be like, well, it's not FDA approved, or there's not a lot of studies in that, but this is where I would start,
Right. This is what it looks like so far.
Right.
Yeah.
So at least having those conversations, at least giving you
and
some
I'll
direction.
give you a prompt from something earlier that we were debating back and forth, and now I'm going to swing the argument in your benefit. Convenience. We all have a smartphone, man. We all have information now that, 20 years ago, you couldn't even find it. It was hard. Now, you can find an expert on your phone in just about any subject within seconds, or a how-to YouTube video, step by step, this is how you fix this on your car or whatnot. So yeah, find an expert, get the information. There's tons of information out there about, healthier styles of living, and, then talk to your doctor. Find that information,
Mm-hmm.
go talk to your doctor about it, put a plan together. Yeah.
Yeah, and if there's anything that the last last couple of years have taught us is, you know, the importance of being healthy.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
This is,
Because if you were mildly unhealthy 2 years
yeah,
ago and got sick, like, it was not good.
yeah,
It's just was not good for you.
yeah, and even as healthy as I try to be, it
Right.
had an effect on me.
Sure.
You know, it
Kicked your ass.
it did.
Yeah.
No joke. You know,
Yep.
and that was sobering even for me because of all the steps I take
Yeah.
to be healthy and supplement and oof.
And
I
it,
just
it
think,
actually kicked your ass worse than it did mine.
yeah, and
You
I
know,
I
like,
think
had
I
you
just
not
think,
been
yeah,
as
had I
healthy,
not been healthy,
oh
man.
God, yeah, that would have went a lot worse, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid to say, I
And
think
that scares
would
the
have been
shit out of
very
me. That,
bad for you.
yeah.
And it's that easy.
And I no, okay, and I want to be clear. At no point did I think I was dying.
Right.
All right, it's not.
But
I'm
it
not
beat
gonna
you up
over. I'm
bad.
not gonna over exaggerate this. Like, I was never in the hospital. I did go to my doctor,
Right.
and he gave me some things.
Yep.
But it was only because I just felt shitty for so long.
Right.
Not dying. Okay, I never. My O2 sat, right,
Yeah.
was always above 95%.
Right.
I don't want to act like, oh God, it's not
Yeah.
that. It's that I just felt like shit for so long.
It beat you up pretty good.
Yeah. It's not the worst cold I've ever had in my life,
Right.
but it was significant enough in my mind. I was like, holy shit, what if I wasn't healthy? How much
Right.
more effect would this have had if it was already like that?
And it's weird how with some people, it affected
Yeah.
some people one way, affected, I think I've probably been a positive test for that maybe 3 times, and it just never really was that bad for me.
Yeah.
I had a friend that's in the National Guard, and an emergency medical technician, healthy, reasonably healthy, and it clobbered him, man. It clobbered him, and his paramedic partner ended up passing away. And young, not overweight, had some, wasn't really that healthy. It's hard to be healthy in EMS, man. Like, we all struggled with it. It was just, I had a love affair with little Debbie. She was my girlfriend. It was lots of hours, lots of driving, having to stay awake. It was sugar, 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 sugar. But for me personally, it just wasn't that bad. I was lucky, because the problems I have now, like, that's a lot of people like me really didn't do so well with that, But for some reason, it really wasn't that bad for me. I seen other people that it just beat the hell out of them. So yeah, I was fortunate. But definitely made me want to be healthier, right? Because I'm like, man, if who knows what's down the road next time, right? It might be something even worse than that, So natural cause, natural development or lab development, I don't care either way. It's there's nasty shit out there, and I want to give myself the best chance I can to be able to recover from something like that. So,
and again, like we're talking about, we've lived through a couple significant natural disasters here just in the last couple of years.
Yes, we have.
And like I said, how much stress did that put on your body just trying to get to your house? And then you got there, and then like you're trapped there.
I was trapped.
Now you're not getting out. And I was in the same situation.
Yeah. Once you cross over the
and
Rubicon, right?
Well, and
there was no going back.
And it happened. That natural disaster happened while my family and I were all sick.
Right.
On top of it.
Oh God.
And then we were cut off from the rest of the world.
Right.
In the midst of that.
Talk about terrifying. You
yeah.
know? Yeah. But you're a pretty independent, self-reliable person. Like
right.
That helps.
Right.
You know, that confidence of, because imagine if you weren't.
Right.
You know, let's you know, for a lack of better, let's call you a soy boy, man. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
what these guys want to hang themselves because the internet it's out and they can't play their video games.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's very complicated. Like a lot of shit we talk about here is just it's never really black and white.
Mm.
I'm gonna go home for a week and you know mull this shit over and over in my head, trying to really decipher how I feel because
Mm-hmm.
it really tears me apart sometimes. You know,
Mhm.
because like I said, I love streaming. Like I
Mhm.
love technology. I I'm a technology geek. You know, like I was. I remember the first years ago, I was making homemade movies of you know us riding snowmobiles and you know
Mhm.
putting music to the background and different transitions from you know one view to another and um, I had so much fun making these homemade movies on the computer and you know trail cams. Oh my God, you know trail cams come out and I had 20 of them.
Mhm.
You know, you could barely touch my 44 acres, and like I had your picture, man. You
Mhm.
know, like I loved it, but I also know, like, you know, there's not always so good to be just relying on that system. You know, like,
Right, but that's where you have fail safes in place,
yeah,
and this is what I tried expressing in I don't even remember which podcast it was. It was the last one. I really once this is done, I fucking check out.
right,
So I don't think about it too much afterwards. But you don't have to be a fucking doomsday prepper.
no,
Okay.
no,
And this is where I was trying to get to the point of, you know, it never fails. Like we talked, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure we talked about it. Where you know we get a foot of snow and you can't buy a banana
right.
or a fucking loaf of bread in
You're
this
not going to
city.
the store for, you know, yeah, everything shuts down. Foot of
Right,
snow,
right.
you're stuck in the house for a couple of days.
There's
You
gonna be
know,
floods. There's gonna be
yeah,
snowstorms. You know, you're gonna get sick and your road's gonna wash out in a flood, and you can't go anywhere anyways because you have this illness,
right.
and you
And even
have
if
to
you
stay at
could, now
home.
you can't because the road's washed
Right.
out. Yeah.
So, you,
Compound disasters.
right. So, okay. So my family and I were all sick, and we were stuck here for 10 days.
Right.
If we didn't have a little extra food in the pantry,
Yeah.
now what?
Yeah, because neither one of us are saying, look, man, go out and get 2 years worth of food.
I,
Maybe you should. I
right.
don't
I'm
care.
not gonna
But
tell
have
anybody
a little
not
bit.
to.
Have a little bit, right? At least. Just a few days worth of, you know. It's not that hard to get some beef stew in the can or some canned chicken, you know,
Right.
some canned veggies. Put them aside, just, you know,
Right.
just in
Spaghetti
case.
noodles and
Yeah.
sauce.
Yep. Spaghetti noodles and sauce, man, go a long way.
Yeah, it might suck eating spaghetti for 5 consecutive nights,
Better than not eating.
but it's better than your road being washed out, and you
Right.
couldn't even go to the store anyways because you got this cold that they don't let you leave your house
Right.
because of, right?
Right.
And you're there for
And
10
you
days.
know,
Now
what
what?
was it? Most people are 4 days away from cannibalism.
Right.
So,
I just don't understand the complacency
yeah.
people have with, well, it'll never happen here, or it's once in 100 years.
Yeah.
That road, I've lived here 26 years.
Yeah.
That road's never washed out. It's
Yeah.
washed out 3 times in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They were all one in
gotta be.
100-year storms. The big one
It's got to be climate change.
last
man.
year was 1 in 500-year storm.
Right.
Uh,
We've had some big ones.
Right.
You know.
This shit's gonna happen.
Yep. So yeah.
And I
mean,
agree. I
you
agree.
should have
Like,
a few days.
okay, if it would have taken out the power, guess what? We have a generator. We have a
Yeah.
little extra gas. We can get by for about 3 days
Yeah.
before we need to go get more gas.
Yep. And if you can't get gas, what are you gonna do with that freezer? You're gonna start canning.
Right.
Your shit's gonna thaw. You start canning it. You know, just to rescue what you can out of
Yeah.
it. Again, being self-reliant. You know.
If people just did that, then
Yeah.
when these hurricanes happen, when things
they
happen,
would do a lot better in them for sure.
it's not putting such a strain on the resources.
Right. Yeah, agreed. You know, and hey, if you want to put 2 years worth
Yeah,
of food away, good.
You do what you
know?
do. You.
Yeah, do you. Good. But I mean, at least have a few days worth of food.
I think
You know,
yeah,
it's a good
couple
habit,
weeks worth,
you
that
know?
way.
Yeah,
there is a natural disaster. You got 2 weeks to where, okay,
2 weeks worth of
you can
food, I
feed your
think, would
family.
be. Yeah, you know,
you guys don't have to panic and try. You know, your roads got
you
trees
got some
down.
tuna
and
fish. You know,
Right.
like
That's what I'm saying. I'll agree with you there. Like I think people need to do a better job at
Yeah.
not being so reliant and
Right.
just expecting, well, the trucks will roll in with food and clothes.
Even if you get stuck in the storm, you know, like, hey, we're gonna wait this out. I'm gonna ride it out. You know, I don't want my shit getting looted.
Right.
And then it gets bad enough, like, oh shit, that probably wasn't the greatest decision. Like, you know, at least be able to get yourself out of that situation. Then, you know what I mean? Like, you got a lot of people now that they're on the rooftop begging for help, man. Like, you know, send in the helicopter to get them, and you know, some of them people with the right attitude and the right skill set, the right knowledge, you know, could have got themselves out of that. You know, there's not a lot of situations I found myself in that I could not take care of myself and get, you know, either take care of myself or get myself out of that situation to a better one, you know, like, and granted, I know everyone's not going to go out and learn how to start a fire with 2 sticks. I can do it. I don't want to, you know, and Bic lighters are what, 3 for $2? They used to be 5 for $1 in the day. I don't care if they're $6 for a pack of 3. Buy a couple packs of those, man. You got one in the glove box of the car. You got one, you know, here. You don't even have to rub sticks together to start a fire now, you know. But, you know, knowing how to start one, like, you know, just knowledge, you know, who knows? Maybe someday it'll come in handy.
Yeah, and I think too many people just look at any kind of preparedness as, you know, it's too overwhelming.
Right.
You know, our own government tells us,
right,
you know, 3 days of food and water minimum.
I seen a YouTuber, I can't even remember which show it was on. I watch so many YouTubers, but said one of the things in the prepping community that really hurt the prepping community more than anything, and I knew it before he even said it. Reality TV doomsday preppers.
Yeah.
You know, for one, I've told different people, like, they say, oh, yeah, what? You know, you're having this conversation with someone, they're like, oh, you're a prepper, huh? You got years with them. I'm like, don't ever call me a prepper. I'm a survivalist. You know, I'm going to survive, whether it's zombies. I don't give a shit. I've got a good knowledge base that's going to help me. I'm not saying it can't be like, you know, I get eaten by a fucking bear or wolf. It happens, but, you know, the wolf's going to have a hard time eating me. He might win, but it's going to cost him some. I ain't a free meal. But I thought, you know, yeah, when you glamorize that, and I remember the episode, and look, I loved it. I watched it, right? And the one guy, you know, he's taking his kid out with a 22, and they're shooting balloons out in the desert, and he stands his rifle up, right, and he's got his thumb over the barrel, and the rifle went off and blew blew his thumb right off, right in the show, man. And then it showed him weeks later, and you know, it was short, and I'll never forget it. He called it his midget digit. And I was like, here's an expert. This is the guy that's supposed to be pumping you up that you can do this. This is what I mean by some knowledge. Knowledge of, for one, that barrel should always be in a safe direction, and there should be none of your body parts over top of that barrel. Ever.
Gosh dang.
You know, and, you know, I had a friend of mine and his son, and today I was doing a demonstration in firearm safety. You know, the points that you look through a firearm to make sure that it is unloaded. And the rule was, you know, the rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. The rule about, you know, a firearm is it's always loaded. Even when you know it's not.
Right.
It's always loaded. And you never point it at anyone. Ever. You know? And I'll just never forget that episode of Doomsday Preppers and putting his thumb over there and shooting his thumb off. You know? And it just made people look like asshats. And then all of a sudden it became, instead of being, you know, self-reliant, like a tough person, like, you know, some things that maybe your grandparents instilled in you, you know how to can, you know, I watched my mom and my grandma can tomatoes and stuff like that. Like, you know, we're losing that knowledge because anyone that knew how to do this, they made fun of you. Oh, you're one of them stupid prepper guys, huh? You know, and they still do that. Even to this day. Like, if you right now telling people you should have 2 weeks worth of food they would label you one of them goofy ass prepper people. Oh, yeah, you're one of them stupid prepper people on TV. Just because you're telling someone to, have an extra little bit of food.
Right.
Like I'm not telling anyone to go out and start a fire with 2 sticks. Like I got a camp stove too, and propane and a tent and an air mattress, and I like to camp roughing it like that sometimes, but there's still some conveniences I take with me.
Right.
Little generators, little wind up shit. Like there's all kinds of solar stuff that you can get now. Go to Cabela's, man. Get a water filter. If I'm just gonna give you any advice right now, get a survival straw.
Yeah.
Get some way of filtering water. That's my advice as, one of your doomsday prepper people. Yeah, be able to filter some water.
Yeah.
Because, if you end up stuck at home for a few days, like, you'd be surprised how many people wouldn't even realize, like, you can melt snow. Oh, there's a foot of snow. We're stuck. The pipe's broke. We don't have any water. I remember when I was a kid, like, man, we had a really bad storm, and they were melting snow on the stovetop to flush the toilet. Like, you can do that. You have to.
Ice is better.
Ice is better. Yes, it is.
What is it? Snow is like 10% water, 90% air, but ice is 90% water,
the other way,
10%
the
air,
opposite.
something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get a lot more water with ice. It takes a hell of a lot of snow to make a pan full.
Right.
Way more than you think. A garbage bag of snow per pot of water.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that's absolutely true.
I don't know if those are exact numbers, but
I think so.
I'd heard something like that at one time. Man.
So yeah, by no means am I some doomsday prepper weirdo, but I do like to be independent. And I struggle, like you said, with the biometric testing and shit. And God, I really like the government. No one has a business to know anything about me. And if I smoke, like, because I do have that independence in me, but yet, like you said, there was good that comes out of that too. So maybe promoting a healthier lifestyle or helping people, getting that information out there for them, that's not a bad thing. I'm making some good changes in my life right now.
And I understand why the corporations are doing it. They're trying to
save money.
Right, they're trying to save money.
Yeah.
So they go, well, the unhealthy people cause a strain and cause our health costs to go up, so we're going to penalize them by charging them higher premiums.
Yeah.
I understand why they're doing it, and it's
for the love of
money,
struggle, man.
Yeah, it's a struggle for me to look at it.
God, it tears me up.
Yeah, like, because I know why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But it does create this good. It's complicated.
It is complicated because there's people in the rabbit hole that say, what's the guy from InfoWars?
Alex Jones.
The sky's falling. The sky's falling. Look at they're gonna make you eat crickets, and everyone laughed at them. And what the hell are they doing now? So information is dangerous, and when and there is a segment of the population that would say, hey, we don't want none of this shit being done through our employer because they're going to share it. No, they'll never share it with the government. Well, we have found out in the last couple of years that actually they did. And social media shared a lot of shit that they weren't supposed to with the government. And government overreach, I think, is a real serious thing that people should pay attention to. And know that, when your information's out there, your data's out there, and people said, well, they'll use that against us, and other people laughed at them. I mean, who's laughing now, right? A lot of that is used against you now. And again, man, it's hard because a lot of good comes out of that stuff, but you got to be careful with it. I don't want Joe Biden having my DNA makeup. I don't. And I don't want them to be able to look at my DNA and say, all right, well, this guy's already predisposed to heart disease. He's at a lot higher risk, so we're going to burn him on his health insurance. And then you got Obama saying, well, if you don't have health insurance, you're going to go to jail, right? And we're going to fine you $100,000. Because that really affects the poor people more than anyone else. It's
to be
unfair.
clear, that both these employers, the only thing they looked at was blood pressure,
Sure.
blood sugar, good cholesterol,
Right.
bad cholesterol. I think that was it. There
Yeah.
was only, it was only, a, they're not, they're not doing
Where'd the blood sample go after they were done? You know, they take your blood, they look at 4 or 5 different things. Then what? You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of
Well, they
this is what I
they
ask
have like a
myself,
little
like,
machine that looks like what you would use for checking it, like a diabetic
Yeah.
would check their blood
Mhm.
sugar with, and they throw it right in the garbage can.
Because
when
every
they're
time I
done.
go to a lab, like, it's vials of blood and
Now the test I do
Yeah.
through my doctor, yes, they do.
Okay.
They take 3 vials
right.
for my blood work that I do
Okay.
through my doctor. That's not for my
I see. I've
employer.
never had it checked at work, so I don't.
Yeah, they
you know.
literally do a finger prick, the little glass
When I've had
tube.
it checked at work, I went to the doctor for
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was different for me.
Yeah, I don't know what
So
the
I didn't
yeah,
know.
you're right. The lab, I don't know what the lab does
I
with.
mean, because I seen this story about when the COVID or ID whatever hit. There was some Chinese companies that wanted to set up testing stations to help because man, everyone was overwhelmed, right? And
Mhm.
people are getting tests left and right, and but then like they were keeping these swabs because they have your DNA profile on there. So the idea of a foreign government having your DNA profile is kind of scary. Why would anyone want that? Unless, again, let's do some Alex Jones shit and go in the rabbit hole. Maybe you wanted to manufacture something that, would affect certain people and not others. One day it's a conspiracy. 2 days later, it's the gospel truth. I mean, a lot of this shit that people thought was conspiracy actually kind of bared some fruit. So,
But it seems like if they wanted to go that route, wouldn't they just use one of these DNA testing sites and
right.
hack that?
And then they said they were people going through trash, trying to,
No. I'm saying,
What?
wouldn't it be easier instead of trying to set up test sites for a
Yeah.
cold virus? Wouldn't it be easier just to go one of these sites that tell your genealogy?
Oh, yeah, for
get
the people
I mean,
that-
how many people
right.
have done that? Wouldn't it be easier just to?
Yeah. I personally, I haven't, I don't know. I guess they make money at it. So people must be, and I'm curious, what part of Europe and wherever I came from, my genetic makeup, but I never have. I've always been just, I don't know. It's scary. It's intimidating to think of.
No,
Who would have
this is-
ever thought,
this is
20
where-
years ago that we'd be having this conversation that your health and your DNA was like priceless data, like it's data points.
Maybe.
And
I don't know.
man, that's just crazy to think nowadays, like your health is some, like priceless commodity that, people want to know what your DNA makeup is. And, you don't think like there wouldn't be an advantage to an employer or
If I only had a sinister look at it, maybe on the surface it would look that way.
I'm saying for them just to save money. Like, look, this guy, he's predisposed to cancer and diabetes. Like, he's got to pay way more for health insurance. Like, I could see where that would help them save a lot of money. It would, I could see where people would say, well, that's fair. That's fair. He's going to get sick. I'm not. Why should I pay a higher premium? Even though that guy's running and doing things right, like, you still can have cancer,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It just takes you to a potentially dark place. Like, and I just think for every bit of that, there's always someone that is willing to abuse it.
I mean,
Because I think there's just bad people in the world.
Right. I hear, and that's where I struggle when I hear these stories, like you were just bringing up about, this country wanting to do testing, and it's like, okay, yeah, I guess if I still never seen any evidence that I heard I heard stories like that, like,
Right.
oh, we believe that, they could do this,
Mm-hmm.
but I never seen any evidence that that's
Right.
what they were truly doing. Or are they just looking for an opportunity to make a buck too?
And it could be that. You
You
know
know?
what I mean? It definitely could. It could be, but maybe initially it starts out as just, look, man, we're gonna make some money off this, and then there's always some nefarious
Yeah.
person in the background that's like,
Potentially, it doesn't mean there. It
you
just
know,
means the
I
potential
don't.
exists
Right.
for that.
So I think these are questions you should ask. Like these stories, even whether there's a lot of evidence to support it or not, if it can just make someone stop and just think about this for a minute,
Yeah.
what are we willing to live with as a society, as an individual person? Like I don't want to have to get a tattoo that says Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? Being a billboard for a company. I'm not gonna sell my skin. There are people who will, for sure. There's people that want an implant in their eyeball for internet access. I don't.
All right.
So I think even if it's just fear mongering a little bit about, oh, China's trying to get your DNA, it does bring up good points. Should China have access to my DNA? Do I want my government to have access to my DNA?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the most private, personal part of me. Do I want to share that with anyone? Would I even, here's another question. Would I want to know? Would I really want to know? I've had cancer more than once now. 3 different forms. My parents died in their 50s of cancer. So at 30, would I have wanted to know? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I quit smoking a little sooner. Maybe not. I don't know. It's just, man, that's something to chew on for a little while. It's like, I would understand, if someone wanted to know. Maybe a female that had a mom that died of breast cancer, and now she sees she's got the same potential, so she goes and gets the double mastectomy. You know, I guess I could see why someone would want to know. I respect that, but me personally, I don't know that. Do we take something? Here's a question: are you cheating something out of your life, the experience of life? If you knew, if you could find out the day you were gonna die, would you want to know, or would you want to live every day not knowing?
Yeah, well, it depends if knowing.
If you could change it, maybe. Maybe let's say you don't know how you're gonna die, you just know the day it's gonna happen. Oof, man, that's a mind warp.
Did you know about that?
Yeah. I didn't know the exact date, what I mean, but yeah.
So it's already out there. Somebody wants it.
Right.
Right? And what I'm showing here is, and I'm not going to go into exact details, but pretty much they take a blood sample from every baby that's born from their heel within the first 48 hours of birth anyways, and that information's stored.
Right.
I don't think this is where I get frustrated with the stories about the Chinese taking your blood or the government. Someone having access. Somebody has it all already, and we're getting upset about a test for a cold. And what I'm afraid of is people don't go get tests or blood work done because they hear these stories about someone might be stealing your shit.
That's a good point. Yep, I would agree with that. Someone
they've been doing this for 50 years. They've been taking the blood.
But that's the U.S. You know what I mean?
You don't think someone can't gain access?
Well, they can hack it.
This is what I'm saying. Someone can gain access a hell of a lot easier than this than trying to set up.
They can hack your phone and
And that's what bothers me when these stories come up, because they don't tell you this, that they've been doing this shit for 50 years anyways. They've been taking a blood sample from every baby born.
That's stored,
Stored for
so
whatever.
Data mining, basically, right? Like every text message you type, whether you send it or not, is recorded, right? And mined and stored. But if those stories make you start to question this, how many people would have ever known that or pulled that up had it not been for the original story in the first place that kicked off the interest? So, yeah, there are negative side effects to that, but there's good ones too.
I want people to make sure they hear this.
Do the research, right? For sure. But I think this makes you ask good questions. Should they? You know what I mean? Should they? Is this right? To a free society. I mean, at what point, like we're not nearly as free as we're made to believe we are.
Mm-hmm.
There's more laws in this country than you could even count. We're made to feel that we're a lot more free than what technically we really are, I believe. But
you could look at
freedom that we have left, I don't really want to give away either. And is this part of a free society? Data mining. Why does the federal government need your blood sample? Why?
I think that you could look at it nefariously, like, oh, they're trying, eugenics, whatever, right?
Yep.
I look at it as they're looking at the overall health of their society and figuring out, do we have a rise in this disease or this disease? And is this specific to a certain region? Or is it because there's chemical plants in this area and these babies are being born with these issues?
Well, shouldn't your healthcare provider be reporting what diseases they're dealing with their patients? Does the federal government need your blood sample to have that information? I mean, they could get on my chart right now and look at all kinds of, what my blood pressures have been for the last, 40 visits, and for looking for trends of, okay, my cancer issues is in my chart. Like, but that's through my healthcare provider that is in control of that information.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Only if they were able to hack it or
the healthcare provider be compelled to share that information. Right. I don't want the Biden administration, the Bush administration, the Clinton, the Trump. I don't give a shit who the president is. I don't want the federal government having a drop of my blood. I don't mind my doctor having it. I don't want the government. There should be a buffer there, And
again, if you're only looking at it through nefarious eyes, I think. But again, as you were talking about the plastics,
right?
It takes universities to do blood work and figure out about these plastics getting in our bloods. And if we can find that information out earlier and make shifts.
They don't need to know your name, your date of birth, your social security number goes to that blood drop to know that there's a rise, and they need to know male, female, blood drop, testosterone level. We're using a lot of plastics. What's going on? Why is testosterone in these blood drops, anonymous blood drops? Why is this going down, right? Like, they don't need data. Look, it's bad enough you already have a driver's license, your picture, and social media, we all got our pictures all over there. Like, I just remember 20 years ago, people warning about the things that were going to happen with this kind of power, and everyone going, whatever, hey, you're fucking paranoid. And now these things happen, and I think there's always going to be bad people that's going to abuse that. So you got to watch the amount of power you're willing to give somebody. Mm-hmm. Know that it can be easily abused, and at some point it's going to be. It has always happened that way. It's always going to. Just like the conversation we had a couple podcasts ago about wars, and it was like, look back over 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 years of history. We do the same thing over and over. I don't care if it's Rome, Greece, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the fucking Maui people. Like, sooner or later, someone's going to abuse that. It's just human nature to do that. And I think I just want to be careful the amount of data we're willing to share, which, look, I got a Facebook, I got an Instagram, I share that information anyways. And that would be the first thing someone would say, well, you're already, they already got your picture. Right. But shouldn't we be asking the question, like, should they? Because when I first put those pictures on there, they were private between me And the social media program that I use, and they promise not to ever share that information. Now we're finding out that the FBI is going in there willy-nilly saying, hey, we want you to look at all these people. Oh, yeah, here's everything you need to know. Here's their aunt, their uncle, their fucking cousin. Like, oh, yeah, if they wanted to hide, they're probably in this. This is what time they take a shit every single day. And it just kind of blows my mind. Like, should we be giving them that much?
But you're giving it to them. Like, if
Right.
they know how often you take a shit, that's on you for taking your phone in the bathroom when you... I don't take my phone in the bathroom.
But if
for
people
one, that's
didn't
disgusting.
know... Yeah. Well, and truthfully, I don't. Right?
And I limit my social media exposure.
Yeah.
Right?
I use more of it than you do, for sure. Oh, yeah. But I'm saying these
but
are
not out
we
of
should be
paranoia,
asking.
out of... I'm just a private person.
Right.
Hence the beard somewhat.
Yeah.
You know. So, again, almost what you're saying, like, you're saying, damn this, but I'm going to give it... Do they need the CEO of Facebook to hand over your information? Anybody, your profile's public. Anybody can go on there.
Mine's private, actually, but I mean, you can see a profile picture and a couple, my gender, you know, there's just 2 or 3 little data points about, no, you got to request me,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Okay, well, most
because
people,
you can set it up that way, right?
Well,
but a lot of people's just, it's out
public
there.
and
Well,
anybody
because
can view it.
the more people
then they can view their friends and they can put together...
Right. And the more likes and the more people that follow, the more followers you have, right? Everyone's we're all narcissists, at least a little bit, you know, and they show this, like, again, mental illness again and depression with, you know, I'm not getting enough likes, like us, you know. I wish right now we were at 1,000 subs, you know, instead of where we're at, but you gotta start somewhere, and it takes a while to build something, but, you know, a lot of people's willing to put everything, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying these are questions we should ask. You know, where are we comfortable? Where do we draw the line? You know, and what could start with just your work taking a blood sample one day could lead you down a bad road someday later on, where someone's really gonna abuse that. You know what I mean? Like, before 6 million Jews got thrown in a furnace, no one believed that was going to happen. You know? That right now, you could take a Polish person, and that, by whatever standard they use, that's considered a person of color, and they got blonde hair and blue eyes. Like, there's... Who would have ever seen this coming 20 years ago? You know? There were people that warned of shit like this, and everyone just kind of laughed them off, and I think there's a lot of benefit to technology, and innovation drives people to work hard. Competition, you know, who wants to be the first person to go to the moon? You know, who wants to be the first person to commercialize space flights, like, you know, in the stratosphere, like, experience zero gravity for 5 minutes before you come back down. Man, oh God, I'd do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. And it's that competitiveness and pushing the line further than anyone's ever went. I think it's okay. I just know that, again, you know, there's just side of consequences to that you need to be aware of and think about. Because I don't know how I feel about this, man. Like, I'm being honest with you, I'm struggling. Because part of me hates what's happening and how vulnerable it's starting to make me feel to one day having someone go, oh, well, you know what? Your blood type is this. Get in that line behind the fence with the barbed wire, you know? And man, that's scary, that to think that someone could take that and use that against you.
But think about how far gone would things have to get that could even exist.
I don't know. Some people would say in America it would never happen. Other people would say, well, you know, say that to the Japanese American citizens that were here, that, you know,
completely different circumstances.
Sure,
I'm
but
saying,
it still showed what people were willing to do. Maybe the reasoning for it's different. You know, you can't say that those Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. You know, they knew who bombed Pearl Harbor. And yeah, it was Japanese military that came over here. It wasn't citizens that were here. Well, they might be a spy. But before that, you know, no way would anyone believe in America that we'd have a concentration camp. And basically, I mean, were they we didn't throw them in furnaces, right? We didn't starve them to death.
Oh, it
They were
definitely wasn't
treated
right.
humane, but it was wrong.
Yeah, it was definitely
They were
wrong.
citizens, right? Like, you can't do that to American people, and yet they did. And we just see, like, the government now take things that are against the rules completely and just throw them out the window and do it anyways. Executive orders. And you know what? Trump, all of them have done these executive orders. And every presidency does more than the presidency before him. So, like, even laws don't protect you sometimes from this kind of shit. I just think, I don't know. These are just some of the things that I really struggle with as a human, as an American, as a man.
Yeah, I try to look at things from all angles and not just this top down.
Sure. Well, that's why we're
skies falling. I just
now.
try to. Okay, is there another reason for this? Is there some? And I know people out there and be, oh, you're fucking naive and blah blah blah.
Right. Which I don't think you're naive. I think you're highly intelligent, and
I just
we've
I don't think it does any good. It's just like how they keep us divided.
Right.
They do the same shit.
Oh yeah.
They get you to say one really extreme shit, and they get someone that opposes you to say something really extreme, and then they get you two hating each other. And then you tell your friends how big of a piece of shit that person is, and they get their friends to tell you, all you and your friends how big a piece of shit you are.
Right.
And they use this shit to intentionally divide us.
Sure. Which makes you weak.
Right.
Why do they want to divide you, though? Again, the various...
So you're not concentrating on what's happening over here because you're so busy having your little pissing matches between each other over here.
Yeah. And now they're blowing people up in another country, and they're making a hell of a lot of money doing it. Again, man, like, I think there's just power corrupts people. And even the best person, I think, long enough would become corrupted. Man, I read a lot of stories in the Bible about, kings that were good, righteous people and eventually failed their people, because of I've watched a lot of documentaries of Caesars, the different Roman leadership that they've had, where you had this emperor, for lack of better words, and then watch how they started out really good, or at least wanting to do a good job, but eventually having that power throughout their life, just all of a sudden now they're having these luxuries, just these big giant parties, and then they go through and they take a member of the Senate. And then, the emperor takes his wife in the other room and just does what, I can do whatever I want. I'm God, and a way of punishing the senators that wouldn't vote the way he wanted them to vote. And I was just like, and this person started out as a reasonably, good intentioned human being. So that's why I love term limits, man. I think in and out. Don't give them time because I think even myself, I would become corrupted. With enough power. So I think there's a lot of good intentions. And what was the saying? The path to hell is lined with good intentions, but I think sooner or later someone's going to take that and use that against you, and that's just scary. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Good questions,
Well, yeah. And I got so much I could go.
Yeah.
Man,
because I think government in itself is a good thing. I think a federal government to protect you from being invaded by other countries is a great thing. I think when the hurricane hit Florida and the federal government sent funds, that's what they should be doing. They should be sending money down there to Florida to help them rebuild their lives. Maybe not $62 billion to Ukraine. Maybe, give $1 billion to Florida. I think to kind of help states not infringe on each other's rights, maybe to be that buffer between the states. I think there's a reason there's a federal government, and I think it's important to have it. I just think you have to be careful, again, giving someone too much power, I don't know, man, and then I look at the guy right now that's got the finger on the button, and that's terrifying. you know.
Yeah, I think people should be more cautious about what's going on right now with this whole war and
Mm-hmm.
speak up a hell of a lot more and say,
Yeah,
this shit
stop
needs
it.
to stop.
It needs to stop.
This
And
this
it
is
does.
getting out of control.
This is an unnecessary war, man. From the core of my beliefs. Now, I'm not a political military analyst. I'm not an expert in shit. I just watch the media reports, and we've been raised now throughout our lifetime in war. You know, it started when we were
Senseless.
teenagers, and it's been going ever since, and there's no end to
It
it.
needs to stop. More
And
people need to speak up. More
yes.
people need to create channels. More people need
Yes,
to be more vocal.
I
This
agree.
shit needs to
Stop
stop.
these unnecessary wars. Look, if someone comes into your area and they're kick their ass, right? I believe in a good deterrent, right? An armed society is a polite society. A strong military in your country keeps other people from trying to, steal your natural resources. I'm all about strength. What I'm not about is these guys war after war after war for the same talking points that they used 15 years ago for a different war they're using today, and it's the same people getting rich and rich and rich and rich, and their kids are never fighting these wars. Now you got the president of the United States caught in another quid quo pro, like impeachment. Anybody? Like, didn't they impeach Trump for a lot less? Like, when is this government going to be held accountable?
I don't
They're
know.
they're killing
I don't
American
know.
men and women.
I'm just
They're blowing the shit out of people all over the place. Country after country after country, we're dropping bombs on kids. Like, enough's enough, man. Stop. Just stop this war before it even starts. Because this one, I think, is probably gonna be the worst that we've seen in our lifetime. If this doesn't take a 90-degree turn right now, 180-degree turn, man, I don't know. This one scares me a little bit. I admit. This one, the war in Iraq pissed me off. After I started to see that I didn't really believe the narrative, and I didn't think it was about oil. That was too simple of an explanation. And, gas never went really down from it. So I just didn't see it as a war of oil. I think it was a lot more complicated than that. I think it was a war about money and profits and power, for sure. But, did the war in Iraq really kind of terrify me? Not really. There's a chance that a terrorist could come over and blow your shit up. They hurt New York really bad. And, the Pentagon, the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. God bless them people. But it never really scared small town America. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't going to blow up your local shopping mall. So we weren't. That's probably what they should have.
No, I'm saying they sure fed that narrative, though, didn't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, sure. They tried to scare the shit out of everybody. But me personally, I didn't worry about a nuclear bomb detonating in my neighborhood. Now? Oh, man. There's a lot of people that are not real nice people right now that got fingers on buttons. Like, this is scary.
Yeah.
And this is someone that you're picking a fight with, someone that can fight back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This isn't like, you're not blowing up some goat farmer somewhere, like, claiming he was a terrorist. You know what I mean? Like, you're picking a fight with someone that's you're gonna get punched in the nose. Was it Mike Tyson said everyone has a good plan until they get punched in the face?
Yeah.
Like, And I think we got to be a little careful with that arrogance, superiority, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. This one scares me. I think you're right. I wish people would start screaming saying, stop.
Yeah.
Stop this shit or we're going to vote you out of office. You're done.
Yeah.
This 30 years you've been there, 40 years you've been there. You got stock in all these defense companies. And, you're a warmongering piece of shit that's just you want to blow people up to line your own pockets, man. That's sick and wrong. You're gone. Stop this war. We're going to vote your ass out of office. I wish, because I don't want this. I feel bad for the people in Ukraine. Maybe Russia shouldn't have invaded them. I'm not an expert. There's people in Russia said that shit belongs to them. I don't know. I haven't seen a map from 300 years ago if this Russian Tsar actually owned that, or at one point it probably wasn't the Ukraine. It was probably considered something else. Maybe the Mongols owned it at one point or another. I don't know.
I don't care either way.
I don't give a shit. Right? Like, I feel bad.
Yeah.
But you know what? Here's something I'll tell you. This is why I hate war. Russia invades Ukraine. Oh, this is so bad, so wrong. How many people would have died had we stayed out of this shit? Had NATO not gotten involved and started supplying money and weapons to the Ukraine to fight back, how many people would have lived? We made this war way worse. By giving them the ability to even try to resist Russia, just made Russia kill more of them. Like, now there's weapons going back and forth all over the place. Like, you know, maybe had we stayed out of it, yeah, it would have sucked that for the Ukraine people that Russia took them over, but maybe they would have just went in relatively easy. This is ours, annex whatever part of it that they were claiming was theirs. And that would have been the end of it. You know? And now look at what we got. Now look at how many people's been killed. I seen reports like 30,000 Russians. I was like, man. And I gotta think for every Russian that died, like probably 2 of the people from Ukraine did. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think like a lot more people probably died because we got involved to help the Ukraine people. Did we?
Right.
You know, because I seen reports, and you know, like I said, I'm not an expert. I could barely find the Ukraine on the map.
Right.
You know, but there were reports that there were people in there that's pro-Russia. They had no problem with that. What I do know about the Ukraine is the things I've learned over the last 15 years, that's where everyone sends money to, dirty money to launder, and it's like the most corrupt government ever that there is in the world today. And we just gave them like $60 billion with no sort of reporting who got it, where it's being spent. There's no accountability to it at all. So, you know, how much of that money got, you know, what, Hunter Biden get a bunch now? He get a little bonus? You know, wouldn't surprise me. And now you got the President of the United States, instead of saying, you know, like going to OPEC and saying, look, you hurt America, we're going to hurt you back. Okay, whatever. Every president has threatened OPEC at one point or another to keep the crude down. But to sit there and say, look, man, do it for 1 month. Then I don't give a shit what you do. You know? The President of the United States, fuck the American people. Just make sure that Democrats get elected, because if gas is high, we're going to get our ass kicked, and then we're going to punish you. So every one of them senators, congressmen that have threatened OPEC now about pulling military support away from them should be fired. They should be fired right now. You're a corrupt piece of shit. Go. You are part of the problem. This is why we're in these wars.
I'd heard something about it, but I haven't done any deep dive into exactly what
I want to
was
look
said
deeper, but, you know, yeah, apparently on video, like caught, absolutely saying, keep it down for a month. And I'm like, you know, and it gave me, man, some post-traumatic stress of when I was a car salesman. Now, remember, that story I told you like 6 podcasts ago about that salesman that was selling that little old lady a car and claiming she was going to save money because of better insurance rates. And she's test driving, and he's on the phone with the insurance company, a rep that he knows, saying, hey, we need to have her insurance at the, well, I can't do that. Well, just do it for a few months. Then you can raise the rates. I don't give a shit. I'm closing this deal, man. Come on, help me out. And then the guy agreed to it. And then I watched the salesman celebrate, sell this lady a car, send her down the road, knowing she's on a fixed income, and eventually it's going to explode in price, and she's probably going to get it repoed. And he's laughing. Thinking, man, you wouldn't be laughing if that was your grandmother that just took it in the ass by some scumbag salesman. And it was the same exact thing. You know what I mean? Like, it grinded me. What a miserable piece of shit, you know? Wow. Just, you know, sell your country out like nothing. You know? Wow. Anyone else, they'd be thrown in jail for that.
Right.
You know,
It just drives me nuts.
yeah,
The fact that, like you said, people that aren't even gonna fight in these wars are making these decisions,
right.
and their kids aren't gonna
Send
fight
their
in
kid
these
over there.
wars. Yeah.
You vote for this war, your kid has to serve.
I-
Watch how many less wars there'll be now. You know. And I look at. I don't want to seem like some hippie, make love, one of
Be a
them
lot better
either.
than making war.
But yeah, smoking dope and having an orgy is a hell of a lot better than a bunch of kids getting blown up for nothing. And again, media. I mean, we wouldn't know. This is one of the positive things about media and the ability to access endless amounts of information is, we can get this stuff now. Where before you were just subject to whatever Dan Rather said.
Right.
And I love Dan Rather. Tom Brokaw, man, those guys were like, if they said it, that's the truth. You could take that shit to the bank.
Right.
And I seen Dan Rather absolutely lie and, fledge documents trying to make George W. Bush look like a liar. And oh God, Rathergate, remember that? Broke my heart. Like, yeah, I've been kicked around by media and by politicians enough that no more, I'm not jumping on this narrative of Russia's evil, are they?
I don't know
I
who's
don't
bad in any of this. I just want the shit
Are
to
you
stop.
telling me
I just
Biden's any better than Putin? I don't know.
Again,
Didn't Obama blow up a shit ton of kids? Like,
yeah.
What did George W. do? And I loved him. But I gotta be.
You could sit here all night and try to draw comparisons. I could give two shits less. I just want it to stop.
Yeah.
I don't
think our
want people
whole
inflaming.
Has been just war.
Right.
It reminds me of Sparta, like the greatest warriors ever, like, come back with your shield or on it. I love that saying, I just do. Like, I love the Spartans. But even they got their ass kicked eventually, like, careful with these wars, man. Sooner or later, you're going to lose one. Everybody wants to be king of the mountain, right? Remember playing that in school? Snow Hill?
Oh, yeah.
Plowing the kids. I mean,
yeah.
Kids fighting over that shit to get on top, man. Everybody wants to be king of the hill. So, I don't know. I agree with you, though. I wish they'd just stop them. If it's necessary, like, I get it. Your country's being invaded by someone. Like, I seen Red Dawn, both versions. Love the movie. You got a foreign country parachuting in all over your country, and you're going to go fight, and we're going to go to war, okay. Even after what happened, and I'm not an expert in World War II. I don't know. I know parts of it. I know that Japan bombed the shit out of Pearl Harbor. I know that it pissed a lot of people off, and they wanted to go to war. It really drawn. That's what really in the victor's right history, right? So none of us really lived through it. I don't know. What the book tells you when you read it is that's what drew America into the Second World War, really secured us being a big part of it, was bombing the shit out of us. I think had I been alive during that time and I witnessed it, I know what I felt like after 9/11. Let's go blow some shit up. They knocked our buildings down. They killed a lot of people. Let's go kick some ass and show them you don't mess with America. So I get that. But I think, we need to start asking questions before we start sending American boys and girls over there. These kids are 18, 19 years old. They're coming back with limbs missing and shit. Like, nah, man, we need to ask questions. I don't want my son going over there and getting blown up so some prick that has stock in Halliburton can get rich. I don't want to, give my son's life for Dick Cheney, and the Cheney family for, stock options they have.
Right.
Or any of them,
right.
Like, I don't know.
I feel bad for the people.
It sucks.
Because it's usually not the people that have anything to do with this.
Right.
It's their governments deciding, making these decisions.
Yep. Like I said a couple podcasts ago, we were talking about this, and I said, I don't know, what did Russia ever do to me? I like vodka. You know what I mean? Like, what, now you can't import Russian vodka and, buy some vodka from them? And I'm sure there's things in America that Russians love. The average person probably has no problem with America at all. They have TikTok accounts and fucking Instagram accounts and shit. Like, so if you took the average Russian and the average American and put them in the same room together, they probably get along just fine.
I'm not even talking about. I'm
So
talking about
why
Russians.
why
and
are we having these
Ukrainians.
wars?
Like, this conflict happened, but it wasn't the people's decision.
Right.
It was their government's
Well, like I
decision.
said, there were
that led
people in
to
Ukraine
them.
that was fine with Russian
Mm-hmm.
taking over.
Right.
Right.
And that's.
But yeah, it was government decisions. Just like now between us and Russia, again, there's decisions being made by governments that are not going to have any. They're not going to suffer any of the consequences of these shitty decisions. They never do. They're always exempt from that shit. They're exempt from the sorry ass laws. You can't carry a gun, but I got armed security. You can't have a fucking border wall, but I lived in a gated community. I'm just sick and tired of these guys passing laws for us shitty people. Just go to work, put into the system so that I don't have to, and I can sit on my ass on my yacht and get richer. And then I'm going to send your kids over there to get blown up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, grinds my nuts, man.
And then you throw into the whole fray that we would have never probably got our independence without another country helping us.
Yep.
And there were people here that didn't want us to have our independence, that were fighting. It's
right.
It's so complicated.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. I think I'm just burned out on war.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do think there's sometimes, look, I can fight. I don't want to anymore. I'm old enough now, like, I don't have nothing to prove. But if I'm coming out of the store and someone starts shoving me around, I can take care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I might punch someone in the nose. I might be compelled to hit them really hard. So I understand that. Sometimes you got to hit somebody. But man, we have just seen it relentlessly through our whole adult life. Like, I'm burned out on it. And I don't see good reasons for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to punch a guy in the nose for no reason. I'm not going to come out of the store and see him across the parking lot and walk over and punch him in the nose because his car's fucking green,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like green cars. Let's blow some people up. You know what I mean? Like, someone's trying to rob me, I'm going to punch them.
That's even the divide in this country now, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't have a certain sticker on your car,
right?
Or, your
can't
window
have a
might
red
get
hat
broke
on.
Out, Like,
Take 2 in the chest for wearing a Trump hat. Yeah.
It's amazing that we've let ourselves become that vulnerable, that we let others think for us and tell us what we're going to like, who we're going to like.
Yeah. What you want to buy. Buy this. You really want this.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
I love the underlying messages in that show, man. Even the mental illness really kind of illustrates, like, wow. But just the message of, you want this and you really don't. You're just told that you want it, and that it's going to make you feel good to have it. And it just makes you feel worse. Before you know it, you're just a sheep. You're just another person in the herd, man. Get in line. Here's your moldy bread and government cheese, which I actually like government cheese. When I was a kid, I think we were on welfare for a little while. We had them blocks of cheese, man, that made the best grilled cheese sandwich ever. I don't know, a little burned out on just some of this shit now.
About 2 hours deep here.
Yeah.
I got a funny story I need to share though.
Okay.
I did in the last one too. Remember at the end?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I have enough for it to be a regular thing.
Let's try it though.
It's
End
not.
it on a good
Maybe
note,
some
man.
people find it funny. It's not so funny. It just shows how times have changed. Because my daughter and I have been having conversations about this, and she's just like floored by how things we were able to get away with when we were younger. And she's like, it's kind of sad, like today, how something that was pretty insignificant when we were younger, is like a major deal now. And
right.
It was probably 1987, 88 around there. I was probably
Good
just
times.
becoming a teenager.
Good times.
And fireworks were illegal in this state.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it was before or after 4th of July. It wasn't like around 4th of July. It was before or after. And we always had our hands on bottle rockets and firecrackers and M80s and shit. And it
Bottle
wasn't
rocket fights.
well, we never did so much of that.
Oh, we did, man.
But we pretty much just lit them off.
Yeah.
And there was a trail at the back of our neighborhood that went out to Major Road.
Right.
And we'd ride our bikes down there, and it was actually wide enough to drive a car down for most of it, then narrowed down to maybe ATV size, bike size. We ride our BMX bikes down there. Anytime. I went to my buddy's house one day, and he's like, "Hey, check out what I got." And he had you remember the little sandwich bags? The brown ones?
Yeah.
And he had some firecrackers and bottle rockets. He's like, "Let's go down this trail
Blow some shit up.
and just light him off." I'm like, "All right." So we cruised down there, and I'm like, "Hey, let's do it right here." And he's like, for whatever reason, he's like, "No, let's go a little further."
Yeah.
I'm like, it wasn't it was a normal spot we'd do it in. I'm like, whatever. We get up there where it's just wide enough to fit a car down, and backed in there is a freaking cop car.
Ooh. That would have went over good.
The cop in the driver's seat's reading a newspaper. The cop in the passenger seat's dead asleep.
Right. Wouldn't have been had you let all that shit off.
But how much things have changed, right? I don't even think that could happen today.
No.
I don't know what the protocol was for tracking.
Right.
I guarantee you they weren't supposed to be out there doing that.
No.
You know?
Man, yeah. Life is a lot different.
And he looked at us from the corner of that newspaper.
He didn't want to have to chase you down through the woods. He's like, you know what? Don't catch the woods on fire.
We didn't light him off, though.
Right. But I'm saying that was probably his
Imagine what would have happened if we would have lit him off.
Ooh, man, he might have come up with guns drawn.
We weren't far. Yeah. We were less than...
Wow.
Because the way the woods were and the way that trail nailed down, and it was summer, so with all the foliage, we couldn't see him.
Couldn't even see him.
We were probably within 20, 30 yards
Guardian
of him.
angel whispering in your ear.
Huh? My friend's ear. He's the one that was like, let's just go up a little further, you know?
A little intuition, man.
Yeah.
Goes a long way. Yeah. We used to have all kinds of fireworks. They were illegal, man. I got family in Kentucky. They bring the shit up, just garbage bags full of good stuff. Yeah. And we'd always have bottle rocket fights, man. We'd light them on, hold them with your hand, and just, let them off. It wasn't, every once in a while it might burn you a little on the knuckle or something, but I mean, we're boys. What's the saying? Pain heals, chicks dig scars, and glory lasts forever, right? That's how we viewed it. So, and there was some big rockets, and there was this big one, man. My cousin's like, you won't light that off in your hand. And I said, yeah, I will. There's a thing's probably 3 foot long, big old stick, bigger than my pinky, you know. And I'm holding it, and I turn my head, and it starts to go off, and it shot. I never thought the sparks that come out of this son of a bitch was gonna be. It was like a flamethrower. Yeah. So it shot sparks, embers all down my arm. It went in my shirt sleeve, burnt me on the neck. Well, when it burnt me, I held on to it, and I kind of straightened my arm out, and I let it go. Well, this rocket goes straight across the yard through the neighbor's window. They had the window open. It was at night, and just a screen blows right through their screen into their bed. This old couple's in there sleeping, and this rocket lands in there, and it's going beep, and it's lighting the room up green and red, and all of a sudden it goes bam, you know? And I hear screaming, and I'm like, oh, I'm dead. So I take off running. Well, of course, this old man's out the window. He sees a fat kid running away. Like, I didn't get away. Oh, yeah, man, I took I got the belt for that one. But, it was an accident. God. I didn't mean to, but, yeah, I thought, God, poor people, laying in bed probably thought they were getting abducted by a UFO or something, Oh, my God. But, the world was different then, we were kind of rough. We were tough kids, and, look, and, hey, I took the ass whipping. I deserved it. I knew. I knew I wasn't going to get away. I was running for my life, but there was too many witnesses, and, like I said, the fat kid only runs so fast anyway, so, You know, obviously he's the one running away. He did it.
Right.
My other cousin's just standing there like, I think he shit his pants. You know what I mean? Never seen that coming. So
Oh,
yeah,
my God.
there we'll end on a funny note. You know.
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this one.
Yeah, thanks,
Talk to
guys.
you guys later.